Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 411th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, December 16th, 2021. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'm host in this workshop. And of course, as usual, we are joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, and I believe he is ready to go for introducing today's topics and teaching. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute into adding to the knowledge of creation. In the past few weeks, we keep on expanding in a very deeper way of understanding the process of creation and how we as a human race have missed and what we're going to miss and what is about to happen to us in different dimensions and dominion of the creation. One of the biggest problems for transportation and transmutation is not carrying the whole of the information or the whole of the energy package. In the coming time, man will learn, like the way we have the RNA and DNA in a physical life, magnetic fields, plasmatic magnetic fields have the same. It's unknown to man, and in time as man becomes to understand it, will understand that magnetic fields carry not only field forces of positioning that gives them the structure of the physicality of existence, but on the same length, they carry the memory of what it is, where they come from and where they go to. Magnetic field memory of the field themselves is an unknown fact to humanity. It's something we never knew, we never considered. But in a time when we come to be transporting and transmuting, we need to know. When we send the physicality, where is memory? What is it going to be at the end of? Understanding of what we call as present time the RNA, the information part, then the physical part, which is DNA, becomes part of the game to be played for transportation and transmutation. Which means in a new system that we see, for example, the vertical units which are getting developed in Keshe Foundation, we can transmute the physicality, the dimension of the fields of an atom. But when it comes to the other end, how do you place the cell of the liver in its position and not in the brain, and the cell of the brain to know where to position itself and not in the kidney? This information carrying part of the plasmatic field is an unknown knowledge to humanity. In the coming time, as we teach more, we'll teach you about the RNA of the magnetic field, how you transport it, how you transmute it, how you bring to make sure the plasma of the physicality and the plasma of the information simultaneously carry the span of the universe. You get there in the dimension of physicality and never worry how to put this plasma together to be a sign of a human. It's not just carrying the fields, carrying the emotion, carrying the understanding of the structure, carrying in a way that it says, I'm a cell for reproduction. I'm a cell for conversion of the environmental energy into a physical dimension. In this atmosphere, there is no air. Is there a need for me? In this condition, there is no liquid. Do I need to adapt? Shall I show myself? Or do I become part of the memory bank of the plasma that next time when this plasma travels into another dimension and there is a liquid, I can survive it? The RNA of what we call the knowledge of the magnetic fields is hidden but very, very apparent once we understand the position of the gravitational magnetic fields of any entity. What we call the line of order, the line of communication within the structure of the body of the man. This is vital to us to understand that when we land on a planet which there is no need for arm or a leg, the understanding of the emotion of the plasma of the physicality and the emotion of the plasma of the soul of the man decide what shape fits you, befits you, how other creatures, other form of life have managed to exist in this environment, or what do I need to exist. I go back to the memory, the cell of the physicality in the RNA of the information, because there is no DNA of physicality, and I say I need a system to assist me to survive, to absorb the energy of this planet, this position on time in space, this galaxy. The RNA of the magnetic fields is sacrosanct in a dimension of understanding transportation and transmutation in the deep space, even though on this planet it might be easier. Nowadays, we pick a phone, we send an information, but we cannot send the emotion through the telephone line. We can express our emotion on the line for the other to understand. And even if our emotion is a sadness, they might read it as a happiness. Even though our emotion inside is entangled in joy, they might read it as a sadness. In the dimension of the plasma technology, understanding the transmutation and transportation of the fields of the universe, there cannot be such error. In this process, mankind will come to understand that the plasma technology of the space, the plasma technology of the deeper space travel has to be understood in the emotion of the fields of the soul of the man, not the emotion of the physicality of the man, where the emotion of the fields, or what we call the RNA of the structure of the transportation and transmutation of the fields of the creation, will play magnetically a stronger part in conformation of the existence at the point of manifestation. If and when the mankind be able to see the field flows within the structure of a plasmatic field, they will see these lines of RNA of the magnetic field, the line of information, the line of order, the line of transportation and transmutation of the fields of the emotion will be carried for the first time with the entity in the dimension of the what we call transmutation of the fields. Which means the field, when it carries itself to arrive at a point of destiny, it's got a load carrier. One is the what we call the dimension of physicality, and one dimension of the information of the physicality, that in interaction with a new dimension, a new position is created. RNA of the magnetic field is more or less one of the last stages of the understanding of the process of the creation. Once man unravels the knowledge, once man understands how to carry the emotion of the soul of the man, or soul of the entity, then the soul in transmutation and transportation of the fields will bring that RNA to play, and according to his need, according to his structure, will create the physicality of the need at the point of manifestation. Humanity has got a lot to learn. Humanity has a lot to understand. It's not just I take you from A to B, but carry the emotion of you in a different dimension of physicality and pressure and existence. Mankind surely at the beginning will fail 99 out of 100 times of trying. But if you could understand the what we call the RNA, the information carrying part of the magnetic field, man will succeed to what we call conquer the space. Otherwise, as we've seen with many races, you'll be taking refuge in UFOs, flying systems, and all sorts of things to carry the physicality, and hopefully the emotion and the soul of the man in that dimension will still be within the dimension of physicality of the man. But those races who have matured to the point of understanding the essence of the creation and the creator and existence in all dimensions will know they have achieved what we call the Holy Grail of the creation. Transportation and transmutation of the emotion. Emotions of the soul. Transportation and transmutation of the information about the dimension of existence and the emotion. Then you can replicate a man in any dimension in the universe with understanding the same emotions and the feeling, but it might not be the same at the point of arrival. Mankind is about to become a true man of space when he understands the process of the conversion and transmutation of the information of the emotion of the soul of the man, and not only the soul of the man. One of the biggest problems for humanity has been to understand the strength of the fields of the emotion. We can see in the electrical systems the place of the joy or sadness within the brain of the man. But the signals are not, they do not exist, they cannot be transmuted and replicated if man does not understand when it comes to the process of the transmutation of the soul of the man, the plasma of the existence, the plasma of the source. In the coming time, what we call transmutation systems will be and will carry this dimension, which means not only man will see the soul, but man will see the emotion, understands it, and he has international language. If you go back to the past teachings, I touched on this a few times in a very, very soft way. As I said, when you see another soul, when you see another entity in the depth of the space, the color of the interaction will tell you the emotion of the entity. My friend, I want to touch you. I want to smell you. I want to be part of you. I want to love you. But these will come in the dimension of the interaction of the fields of you and the field of the entity, and in that interaction creates what we call space colors of interaction. The red, the blue, the greens are not the ones we see the way we are used to. We have plasmatic colors, which now we have seen sometimes, even with the production of gases, so we never understood. We just call it the green one and the red one. But is that red the same to my eye and to your eye? Is that red? Does it mean a danger, or does it mean a life-saving, or does it mean a giver of life? Why your CH3s are orange, and why your other hydrogens are all in the same color bandwidth? Isn't that the essence of creation of the fields that I want to give you? Does this mean that when we become passengers of the space, when we see these kind of colors, it means to us the source of energy? It won't give me. What happened when we see the dimension of when we produce the gases of the lead? Does that color or the spectrum of that color, when we see the depth of the space, means this object wants to take from me? It carries the emotion in respect to the color. It carries emotion in respect to existence. Mankind has to understand now the color of emotion, the manifestation of its presence. When you get angry, you go red. Does mean that you're feeling the emotion in the dimension of physicality. What we have to learn is the dimension of emotion of the fields in essence without the physicality. In the interaction of the fields, which is common in the universe, the same. When you see a given light, given features, given color, it means I'm in need. I'm not stealing, but do you have anything to give me in the energy level? In another color, it means I want to give. I have so much. I've become part of the creator. Do you tap into it? Say, I am short. I have this field of strength in me. I'm ready to take, but what you want back from me? How can I give you from the essence of my creation in what you give me to stay within the boundary of the existence? Mankind in the coming time will understand the biggest mystery of the life of the knowledge is the understanding, the feel, the strength of the emotion of the plasma. Then you understand why when you put the magnets on the table and you add one more, it moves. It makes the other one move because I'm here to give you what I have. But we haven't created the technology to see the field interactions, the color of between these magnets, the joy, the happiness, the accommodation, the position. We do everything for you to find a place amongst us. And then you put a magnet on the table and it attracts the other one. What does it mean? Did you see the emotion of the fields before they interact? In the simple language of the man, they call it the North Pole and the South Pole. We call it the entry and the exit. But how does that entry take place? What is the emotion transfer between it? How many of you have created ganses and is trying to see if ganses pull each other? If the energy of the ganses bend, what happens when you put one gas in another one in the cup of what we call replication of the fields? What colors are in there? What we call in the liquid of the water which is in front of you? We are not trained. We do not understand what emotion does the CO brings and what emotion does the CH3 brings. Who made them? How they were made? Were they made with the joy and happiness that the soul of the what we call the gans is a happy soul? And what happened when it goes in the bucket, when it adds its energy to the field of the waters? This color of the water, it means it's not good for me. But now you pick any cup and you put gas in it and you drink it because you haven't looked at the color of the emotion of the gas. You have not learned the knowledge of transmutation and transportation of this field within your body, what it will do. At the moment, we are at the early stages and we see some results and we follow it. But in the coming time, the way we have trained ourselves with the night vision, we'll train ourselves to see the color within the cup. It might be a color which is good for you, but not good for me. I don't drink it and I hope it'll become good for me. This is the part of the knowledge that RNA, what we call information carrying part of the plasma, which has been unknown to man until today. Those who will understand it, the races in the depth of the space who can conquer this will become those who will understand and be able to see the emotion of the creator as they have tapped in to the dimension of existence and understanding of the totality of the creation, not only in the magnetic field, but in the emotion of the field. Blessed those souls who get to the elevation and to the position that they can see these colors. A few races in the depths of the universe have elevated themselves in purity of the creation that they have managed to reach this point. It's not far when you become detached. It's not far when you become detached from the emotion of the fields of the physicality to the dimension of the emotion of the physicality in direction of the emotion of the soul of the man. Emotionally, you get excited, your heartbeat goes up. What happened when emotionally the plasma of the soul of the man get excited? Would it change his color? Would it change his emotion? Would it change his position? Would it change at all for you by positioning yourself and repositioning yourself for you to have a constant emotion of physicality? It denies you from observing his real true emotion. In the coming time, you will see the characteristics of the emotion, the strength of the field of the emotion of the soul of the man in a conformational existence and carrying the correct information for the physicality to befit itself in the dimension of manifestation. In the past, mankind had no knowledge of this. Now, as we said before, you understand. You're responsible to find the source of it. You're responsible to understand how to double load the soul of the man's fields and the soul of the emotion of the man's fields on the same track. When the field arrives, it carries the emotion of every cell of the body of the man. Otherwise, you'll have a man with no emotion, even though the soul of the man exists within it. A dead physicality, but with possession of the both, the soul of physicality and the soul of the man, because the information of the emotion of the soul never arrived, or is misguided, misdiverted to another position and time, and you have what they call a cabbage of the soul. Not much, it's just there, waiting for the information to arrive. The information of the soul, the information of the emotion of the soul. Humanity has got a lot to learn, but in understanding the way we create our systems, you can blindly follow that one day you might understand. The whole purpose of the teachings is not to be the man of today that you go to the shop and you buy a telephone and it doesn't matter what's in it, as long as I can hear, say hello, yes and no to my dad, I don't care what's inside it. With the knowledge of the universe, you have to understand every emotion and every transmutation of the fields of every entity before you become the true man of space. Otherwise, as it says, ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelt because we are carrying your physicality. And you have entrapped the soul. The spaceships of the soul of the man is within the soul of the man and not within the physical spaceship of a man. Understanding the knowledge and technology is part of the transmutation and transportation of the life. Part of the existence of the true life within the space. We are approaching the point where the man will understand that in essence, every creature is the same. Every field of the soul of the creature is the same. But it's the creation that it changes it in the dimension of the physicality. I have created man in the image of myself, not in the dimension of physicality, but in the dimension of the fields of the souls and the emotion of the fields of the souls, the information which carried within. But man is so feeble that he thinks the Creator has 2 arms and 2 legs and 2 eyes. I gave you the eye to see, but in the dimension of the soul of the man, I gave you the field, the strength to observe, to understand the emotion of the seeing, and not to be physically to see. In time, mankind will come to understand more and more. In time, mankind will come to mature to understand the process of the creation through the true way of the life of the Creator, and not by the way man has chosen the physical dimension. Maybe one day we become mature enough, we become, in a way, complete enough to be able to reach the dimension of physicalities, what we call magnetic field information. And then one day, in the coming time, some of us, some of the human race, the children of the Adam, as we call it, which is the Creator, might become mature enough to understand the process of the creation. We're approaching 21st of December. Many of you have set life to see the change to manifestation of Mitra. Mitra has manifested itself in the dimension of physicality millions of years ago. But in the dimension of physicality of the soul, not in the dimension of physicality of the man. In so many ways, when it comes to time of what we call Mitra, it means the time when the man will start to understand the full process of the creation. Not only for man, but for the rest of the creatures of the universe. Is the what we call the birth of the totality in understanding the love of the Creator when it's created. In coming time, many of you will endeavor to understand the process of creation through understanding the process of created. But if mankind is to achieve true knowledge of the creation, mankind has to walk away from what he understood about the dimension of physicality and life of the man. In the dimension of physical life of the man, I made man in the image of myself. I made man in the image of myself, in the dimension of the soul of the physicality and the dimension of the soul of the created in the soul of the man itself. Maybe one day, mankind will understand the process of the creation in true essence of it, and not by the dream of it. What will happen, the way it will happen, and the way mankind will decide for it to happen to itself. Many of you will come to understand the process of the creation, the true process of creation, through transmutation and transportation of field strength of the systems. When we transport you from one enhancement unit into another, we don't transmute anymore your physicality. We have made teleportation. We have made the condition of transformation and transportation of the both the fields of the plasma of the creation and the fields of the emotion of the plasma, which has created that emotion and that physicality in the dimension of the emotion of transportation. In a way, the RNA of the RNA, in a way, carrying the information of the existence plus carrying the information of what it needs to exist at a point of manifestation or detection. In coming time, we teach. In coming time, we'll try to teach more. But for many of you, at this moment of time, all is important to see a UFO, to see you can fly. And then we talk about the rest later on. We leave it to our next generation to sort it out because we have seen and we believe in what we see. I gave an example in the recent past, and I go back to it for you to understand the reason why I gave it the example. You knowledge seekers and a human race would like to see a miracle, that miracle leads for you to understand, to see the light, to see a confirmation, affirmation of The possibility that by seeing the light, you see the light of the Creator, you see the light of the confirmation of the existence, and this shall show my power that what I can deliver. As I explained, and there are a number of knowledge seekers who can explain to you, I have made them to see the light. What you call the UFOs, what you sell the shooting stars. I never created the shooting star. I created the fields of the emotion of the soul, and the soul of physicality of the man reads an emotion and call it the shooting star. And we have made it possible that for 3 or 4 souls or 5 souls to see it at the same time, as we have a knowledge of the common denominator field, the strength of the observation. For me to confirm the totality of the control is that for every single one of you and the rest of the humanity at the same time will see the same light. It does not matter if you're in the North Pole or the South Pole, if you're under the ground or you are on the mountain. Then you will understand you all have seen the light. But has that light enlightened you with the knowledge of the creation? That's questionable. Or it just happened that even man in deepest caves will see the shooting star. Because we have created that impression through the soul of the man and not through the stagnation of physicality. In a way, we have put you in a state of dream. And we control the show. In coming time, many of you knowledge seekers will come to understand that the teachings of the past and what is going on now was and is to direct you to understand more about the process and of the interaction of the fields of the plasmas in the dimension of the GANs or in the dimension of physicality. Would all the ganses within the same pot decide one gans should be elevated and they all give their energy to that single gans? Would the shape and the emotion of that single gans in the dimension of physicality be the same now that it has received all these energies? Today, I have opened the rigma of the life. How you can unravel this rigma, it's your level of understanding about the true level of creation. How far, to what extent, as knowledge seekers gather the knowledge of the past to confirm the existence of the tomorrow for their own soul, will become the biggest battle for every single one of you. We have seen the corona and the mayhem which will come with it in the future. The strength of the emotion within you will decide if I want to be in this dimension. To be given, to be enforced, to be given, to be conditioned for my physicality to live, to be here, to accept the what it can come to harm my physicality. In that process, now, because of the realignment of the fields of the emotion of the physicality and the soul of the man, and understanding the interaction with the soul of physicality, you shall decide. Am I taking fields of the energies from the universe with all, not only the fields of energy, but the information carry a part of it? And what do I have to do and what do I have to give that create the emptiness for that to arrive? Humanity has entered the point of what we call creation. The true essence of creation, the true understanding of the process of creation. maybe one day, some of you as knowledge seekers will reach the point that you don't need to seek any further, but you understand the process and you shall see the light of what I call the emotion and RNA of the fields of your existence and your soul. At that point, you are mature to see the light of the Creator, and with it become part of, as you have seen, you become part of, because by seeing you have accepted to receive the totality of the knowledge of the RNA and DNA, both with information and physicality of the existence from the source, from the point of creation. The true essence of this comes, we're approaching what we call Christmas. And we all speak about the shining star, the Star of David. Is that star a true star? Or was it to be seen by the souls and accepted by the sum of the totality of the physical life of those who wanted to believe in seeing the star? And then, did that star emotion and information carry the same emotion and information in every single person who has seen them? Or was it just only for those who follow the path of Christianity? Now, the question of existence takes different shape. Is the Star of David the light through an interaction of the emotion of the fields of those who wanted to see the interaction and emotion of the fields of the Creator, or within the structure of their own soul? The burden of knowledge, the burden of learning the knowledge, the burden of understanding the knowledge is upon you to understand the process of the creation of the information, motion of the soul of it. That with it, then you can take that and create essence of the source of communication and emotion of your physicality in any dominion and any position in the universe. Then you understand how we have lived amongst men for thousands of years, as we understood the process of the creation and transformation of the essence of the knowledge and balance energy of the fields of the soul of the man. I hope many of you knowledge seekers will mature to this point very fast. What we call the birthday of Mitra in coming days is the enlightenment of the man. The birth cycle of the creation as Mitra is amongst us, has been and shall be, in the essence of the confirmation of the soul of the man, not the soul of physicality. Those of you who will want to see Mitra with your own eyes, you will see the light of it on 21st. Those of you who are expecting to see the physical dimension of the birth will have a lot to learn, as you have to convert the dimension of the physicality from the source, from the top. Then humanity in one instance will mature. The teaching of today is not for faint-hearted. It's for those who are deep thinkers, who understood the process of the teachings of past years and can manage to convert it and complete it with the interaction of the fields of the man himself. As I said before, when we were teaching the physical dimension of the reactors and whatever, we needed 3 or 4 or 5 hours of teaching. Now that we teach in the essence of understanding, 1 minute teaching needs thousands of years of understanding. It's for you to decide if you have matured enough to understand part of it or the totality of it as you have learned to walk. Now you have to explore the ground. Break. If you'd like to go through a small commercial break, then we come back. And then we will carry on answering questions, because understanding a teaching of today needs many, many thousands of years of contemplation. Are you ready to go through a break?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. We can take a commercial break, you might say, and have a look at some products of the Keshe Foundation store. Okay, thank you. We'll be back in a few minutes to continue the workshop and open to questions from the public.